We've reached the halfway point of the season in the ThundersportGB 2012 Championship, and in this programme we feature two classes, the HEL Performance Streetfighters and the Bridgestone Thundersport 500s, both with equally great racing. Welcome to Thundersport Naked. Round 5 of the ThundersportGB Championships comes to you from Snetterton. The rain pouring down here as the HEL Performance Streetfighters get ready to line up on the grid. There's a number of riders that, well, due to a high attrition rate on Saturday, won't be on circuit, and a number of riders that have boycotted Snetterton, and looks for good reasons at the moment as the grid girls look for shelter. Normally, the umbrella's used, obviously, for shade, but today they have a different use. Wet tyres order of the day, as ever, as the Street Fighters get ready to line up on the grid, and we expect to see Street Fighter A Championship leader, Reese Rothwell, lining up on pole position. The Rothwell Racing Triumph, there he is, number 9. Wet tyres ready to go on his bike. Can he extend his championship lead in the HEL Performance Street Fighters? Second on the grid, number 2. That's Andrew Plaskett. Andrew riding on the Bromley's Vehicle Service Suzuki. Next to him will be Martin Stanier, 121, a regular in the Thundersport paddock. The Lady Snoots Suzuki 750, also in the A category. There's an A, B and a C class in the Street Fighters. The difference between each class is engine capacity and brake horsepower limits. As number 32, Adam Palfreman, also a member of the Rothwell Racing team on the Suzuki 650 in the B class, lines up 4th on the grid. Keep an eye out, as ever, for number 17, Ian Popplewell, the leader of the B Championship. Tony Hughes isn't riding here today, so there's a chance for Brad Davey to close up in the championship, although his bike went pop, so he is out on another machine, I believe a Thundersport 500, just to try and purely pick up as many points as possible. And as the lights go out, they get underway here at a soggy Snetterton and down into turn 1 at Ritchie's on the Snetterton 200 circuit, remember, not the 300. It's Martin Stanier with the best of the starts there, just going through. Number 17 is Ian Popplewell, leader of the B Championship, as I just mentioned, on the Image Registrations Triumph. And a number of riders just tentatively making their way around Ritchie's before heading into the change of the 200 circuit, I suppose you could say here. Used to be Sear Corner, now Montreal, a hairpin, and then a flick left back onto the start-finish straight, as you see number 64 there, Big Bob Docker. Into Brundle, Nelson. It's Martin Stanier that has the lead on the Suzuki from Rothwell. Andy Plaskett, that started in 2nd, is now in 3rd place. And Rothwell has gone well in the wet so far, so I expect to see him closing that gap up. Leading the B group at the moment is Adam Palfreman on the Suzuki, as we see once again Bob Docker there, number 64, heading around Coram Curve and then into the second change of the 200 circuit. Used to be Russell's, so Coram Curve used to straighten out and then you'd brake into the Russell chicane. Now Coram Curve, you stay banked over on the right hand side before tipping in left into Murray's and then back onto the centre straight to complete lap 1. And it is Martin Stanier that has got the best of the starts, and that's almost a second lead he's got already over Reese Rothwell, with Andrew Plaskett there in 2nd place. Ooh, closely into turn 1 there. That is number 22, Tim Daisley. A bit difficult to read his numbers on the front of his bike. Tim Daisley, number 22 from Winchester, riding on the British Army Race Team Triumph, a rider in the Army Services. There is a Services Championship that takes place in the ThundersportGB series. between the Royal Air Force, the British Army and the Royal Navy. There is actually a Royal Air Force rider out on circuit as we speak, so keep your eyes out for 45, Andrew Castle, racing on the Honda 600 for the RAF Motorsports Association. Meanwhile, back at the front, it's still 1-2-1, Martin Stanier on the Suzuki 750. It's just a straight, normal Suzuki 750 machine with the flat handlebars, with that sit-up and beg riding style. A bike that was used as a weapon by Jamie Wilkins a year or two ago when he dominated the Street Fighter A Championship. And just behind him on the 675, a modified 675 I should add, is Rhys Rothwell. Those of you that have watched Street Fighters over the years wondering where the likes of Andy Denyer and Keith Smith are, well, Keith Smith is laid up, still injured after an accident in Mexico. He's still jolly and he's hoping to be back out on a bike next year, I'm sure. Andy Denyer, well, he's probably doing some sort of obscure triathlon somewhere in the middle of Wales. As for Jamie Wilkins, he's taken a year or two out as Andy Driver just goes through there, number 88, who collected his first ever ThundersportGB win here at Snet today. He's out there on the MZ690, sponsored by Sundridge Windows. It's still Stanier though at the front, who leads overall. There is an A, B and C championship, and then there is a Street Fighter Extreme championship. That Extreme points table includes all of the classes mixed up together. So as it stands, Stanier would take 25 points in his own A class and in the Extreme class. He's currently in second place overall behind Rothwell, who's second place on circuit at the moment. The rain's still pouring down here at Snet as Stanier makes his way through to Murray's. We've had just about every weather condition you can imagine here at Snetterton so far for round 5 of the championship. We've had sun, rain, wind, thunderstorms, but as it is, Stanier nice and easy across the line and into Ritchie's. He is your race leader. 4 more rounds left in the championship at ThundersportGB, so important to get your points sorted out here. We've got Rockingham coming up in late July, Anglesey, the Super Prix of Wales coming up late August, then it's Cadwell Park in September, and then the ThundersportGB Championship finishes at its home, Mallory Park, in October. There's Ian Popperwell, number 17, going in ahead of Steve Bradbury, who finished 3rd in the Street Fighter A Championship last year. And there's number 5, Mick Everett on the KTM 660, a regular rider on the Supermoto machine in the C class. Mick currently has got a points tally of 142 coming into Snet, so he's up in the top 4, trying to chase down Keith Warren. Back at the front, still Stanier that leads, heading around Coram Curve and then down into Murray's, the left-hander, before making his way onto the start-finish straight. He's extending that lead at the front. He's lapping in mid to high 126s at the moment, and that last time around Rhys Rothwell was in the 27s, but the sun is out. The sun is definitely out, so maybe in a couple of laps we'll see a dry line. Certainly no sign of one there. You can see the spray being kicked up as he gently applies the throttle and heads down towards Montreal. And that time around, Rothwell's time was a bit quicker than Stanier's, so maybe Rothwell's just got into the groove a bit and can build some momentum. Andrew Plaskett there, 3rd overall in the race. Rider on the Suzuki 750, sponsored by Bromley's Vehicle Services. And there's number 5, Everett, just ahead of Keith Warren, who's using his hand as a windscreen wiper on his visor there. There's obviously the spray being kicked up from Mick Everett. And Keith Warren, who's got still a decent chance of finishing in the top 3 of the Street Fighter C Championship overall. Brad Davey is well back. His Aprilia 550 went pop, so he's out there on a CB 500. But as it stands, he's actually set to finish in the top 4, so there'd be 13 points on offer for him. As there is Brad Davey, actually now about to be lapped by Martin Stanier. at 750 up against the 500. It's almost like coming up at snail's pace, but all Davy's got to do, of course, it is borrowed machinery. He doesn't want to sling it up the road. He's just finished the race to get some points here on this grid that's slightly down. And look at the gap there at the front. Martin Stanier, that time around, is still in a 126.9. It was a 126.1 from Reece Rothwell that time around, and he can smell Martin Stanier. In fact, he might make a move into Montreal here, and he does. Up the inside goes Reece Rothwell, so gradually, lap by lap, he's just been pulling in Martin Stanier. And, well, has Martin got anything left in the tank? He certainly looks like he doesn't want to give up first place too easily. This is the fight for first and second overall in the championship as they head down the Bentley Straight now and into the left turn. Brundle, flick right down another gear, possibly into Nelson. Careful of the high side on the way out, and then up towards the bomb hole, and Martin Stanier's fighting back. He has the inside line into the bomb hole, but in these conditions, you wouldn't really want to show a front wheel there. Up towards Coram Curve they come now, on your right knee. It seems like you're on your right knee forever around here. As Martin Stanier tries to regain the lead of this HEL Performance Street Fighter race down into Murray's. Back onto the start-finish straight we go. Not long to go in this race, and Stanier clearly has been egged on by the fact that Rothwell has come past him. And the sun now beating down here at Snetterton in Norfolk. Into Ritchie's they go. And Rothwell probably fancied that he may be able to break Stanier and just pull away. That's not the case. Stanier is putting up a fight. We've not really seen a close fight in the Street Fighter A Championship. It's either been one or the other all year, as we see Martin Smith there going through, number 29, rider from Kingsbury, the Holland Contracts Honda 600 in the B class, just ahead on circuit there of Andrew Plaskett, who's coming round to lap him. Andrew third overall, having a bit of a lonely one. They head into Brundle and then Nelson, and maybe, just maybe, Martin Stanier has settled for second place, because Rothwell has got a couple of tenths on him now. Back into Coram Curve. Looking really smooth is Reece Rothwell ahead of Martin Stanier, and Martin he'll keep within touching distance just in case Reece makes a mistake, but it's looking pretty comfortable at the moment, and Rothwell's lap times are very consistent and consistently quicker than Stanier's. The last lap flag is out then, and let's follow Rothwell around Snetterton. 1.99 miles of the 200 circuit around Ritchie's corner, the double apexed right-hander, then down the gearbox, probably to second gear, into Montreal, this hairpin, before chucking the direction of the bike to the left, onto the Bentley Straight, significantly shorter than the old Rivet Straight, before chucking it down a couple of gears on the brakes. You can carry a lot of speed into Brundle. This left-hander, maybe drop down another gear before turning right now into Nelson. Careful of that curb on the inside. Clip that with your knee once or twice and you'd know about it. Then into the bomb hole, slight dip in there, but if you get it right, you can get on the power nice and early, and then up towards Coram Curve. Nice and easy on the power, knee almost touching the ground. It is obviously very slippery out there, and there's going to be no trouble coming from Stanier. Rothwell has executed this race perfectly, and Murray's is the final turn before making his way back onto the centre straight. It's going to be 25 points for Reece Rothwell. He takes the win here at Snetterton as the sun comes out. Martin Stanier is confirmed second overall on circuit and in the A class. It's third for Andrew Plaskett, number 2. That's 16 points for him in the A class and in the extreme points overall. And Tim Daisley, number 22, collects 4th. Steve Bradbury was 5th, and Ian Popperwell takes 6th place and wins the Street Fighter B race. There you see the Street Fighter C's. It's Keith Warren ahead of Mick Everett and Brad Davey. In the B's, Ian Popperwell wins it from Bob Docker and Martin Smith. An overall win, Reece Rothwell ahead of Martin Stanier and Andrew Plaskett.
HEL Performance Street Fighter C winner, Keith Warren. You become the Rainmeister. Yeah, enjoy the rain. You know, as you get older, the rain's better, isn't it? So, yeah.
Well, it's certainly a great leveller. You had a good time out there, yeah?
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, really enjoy it. Great series, great people to ride with. So, yeah. Really.
Thank you very much. Who do you want to thank, Keith?
Sanj is back at the shop, looking after the shop and doing all mechanics, HM Racing, and all the family. Dave, Bernadette, yourself, everyone really.
Bless your heart. Thanks very much, Keith. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thank you.
Ian Popperwell, as winner of HEL Performance Street Fighter B. Enjoyed that, mate?
No, not really. Overinflated my tyres. Terrible. Run really well in the warm-up this morning. In the wet, had a good setup. Altered it for some reason because the water got deep, blew my tyres up. Like a bloody skating ring, couldn't do out with it. They cleared off and left me. Feel a bit sorry for Adam Palfman, to be fair, because he smoked me, he'd gone, and he's obviously got a mechanical problem, which isn't the way we were like to have been up here, but I suppose, you know, still enjoyed it, of course. It's more points to me. But
the main thing is you kept it shiny side up, and you brought it home as a Street Fighter B win. So, who do you want to thank anyway, mate? Yeah,
I'd like to thank John Cherry from RegPlates.com, Pete from Speed Sport and RST for the leathers and the helmet and stuff this year, and Spares Unlimited, Bike Breakers and Thundersport and Jane, of course, and everybody else. Marshall stood out there getting wet through like they do, and yeah, brilliant.
Bless your heart, thank you very much. Reese Rothwell, wow, good race. Probably not one of your easiest races, although you've had some really good battles over the last few weekends of racing. Was he pushing you hard, Martin Stania?
He was, yeah. I mean, it took me 4 or 5 laps to get into it. I set off, I felt like he had no grip whatsoever. Obviously Martin shot off, he just bolted off. I could hardly even see him sort of after the second lap. But I just got my head down, sort of concentrated on getting my lines correct to my braking points, and just started to chip it away at him really. So overall, I am really pleased. I didn't think I'd have that, but here we are today.
Well, I think he thought he could catch you. He gave up, to be fair, on the last lap and dropped back like a second and a half more, you know, than he was. But so you kept your head down, got a good rhythm, obviously, and broke him.
Yeah.
And who would you like to thank, bud?
Just like to thank my mum and dad and ghostbikes.com for everything they've helped with over the past few years, really.
Well done, Reece.
It all started back in 1976. Erlene's, the original gold. We've always stayed ahead of the competition by keeping our clients ahead of the competition. Whether you're a professional racer or simply looking for the perfect driving experience, Erlene shock absorbers offer superior performance, safety, and comfort. We are the cutting edge of racing technology. And with over 30 years of experience and a never-ending flow of innovations, we intend to keep pole position. Our dedicated staff works side by side with the greatest racing teams in the world to deliver suspension without suspense. Simply put, Erlene's shocks are state-of-the-art for motorcycles, cars, four-wheels, and snowmobiles. The number of fans and customers are growing, and the demand for excellent service is increasing. To be in the forefront of advanced suspension takes passion, a passion for perfection in every detail, in every part. With more than 200 World Championship titles in racing, we boast with the very latest technological advancements in both conventional and electronic suspension systems. Our world-leading product lines, TTX and CES, are the result of this devotion to detail and innovation. All products undergo numerous tests to ensure optimal function and quality. To us, striving for excellence is common sense. The future of high-performance suspension is here. Join us.
Welcome back to Thundersport Naked. It's the HEL Performance Streetfighters up next, a class with 3 championships in one, and pole position is the Street Fighter Extreme and Street Fighter A points leader Reese Rothwell. Number 2 there is Andy Plaskett with a nice new coloured bike on the front there. There's Martin Stanier, number 121, rider that's fighting for the Street Fighter A championship along with Reese Rothwell, who's on pole. And then number 32 with his arms folded, looks like he means business, it is Adam Palfreman on the Suzuki. He is the quicker of the B class runners. The difference between A, B and C, engine capacity and brake horsepower. You'll see that the C bikes are mainly supermotos, but there are 1 or 2 riders missing this weekend. I should just point out that Tony Hughes not here, championship leader. We expected to see Brad Davey going well, but he's had to borrow a Thundersport 500 bike in order just to compete and get some points. But at the front of this, into turn 1, is it going to be Reese Rothwell that starts? Well, it is. Martin Stanier thought about getting the whole shot, didn't work out, and Andy Plaskett had to sit up also. Plaskett out there on the Suzuki 750. All of these bikes have been converted, the flat handlebars, the sit up and beg riding style. And there is one of the Street Fighter C's. That's Mick Everett. Mick currently just inside the top 5 of the championship overall, but as the riders head down into Brundle and Nelson here, the Snetterton 200 circuit, it's Rothwell from Stanier. Further back there, we see Bob Docker, number 64. Good to have Bob back out with us. Andy Drivers out there on the MZ, doing well in the C class. Got Keith Warren also, and Brad Davey, as I said, not out there on his Aprilia 550 as per usual. Unfortunately, that blew its guts earlier in the weekend here at Snetterton, so he's someone who's been kind enough to lend him a machine for the weekend. Back at the front though, it is number 9, Reese Rothwell, that leads from Stanier, Plaskett, and there's Poppy, Ian Popplewell. Number 17, leader of the Street Fighter B Cup standings at the moment by just over 100 points. And the current Mini Twins champion is Ian, sponsored by Image Registrations on the Triumph 675. But at the front of this one, it's Rothwell that leads, the rider from Bolton, whose brother Curtis also races in ThundersportGB. A pair of them racing under the Rothwell Racing banner. Just behind him is Andy Plaskett, number 2, rider from Louth, sponsored by Bromley's Vehicle Services on the Suzuki. And then it's Stanier, Lady Snoots Racing, Stoke-on-Trent. There's Poppy once more, number 17, getting the foot peg on the deck. Popplewell trying to fight off Adam Palfreman in the championship. Mick Riddle not here, away on duty this weekend. But at the front, it is Reese Rothwell. Leads the Street Fighter A championship by 31 points. And the Street Fighter Extreme, which are the points that we tend to focus on in this championship, that's a total of A, B and C all mixed together. He leads that one also from Stanier by 38 points, with Plaskett in 3rd, Popplewell 4th, and Tony Hughes, who's not here, in 5th. There's Bob Docker again, number 64. Bob from Hove, Big Bob Racing. Having some fun out here at Snetterton. Mixed conditions, as I said. We've had rain, we've had sunshine, but it's not stopping Rothwell here on the Triumph 675A. Andy Plaskett trying to close in. I can tell you that in the wet weather race here at Snet, there was a fascinating battle going on between Rothwell and Martin Stanier. But at the moment, nobody seems to be able to match the lap times of Reese Rothwell. A low 1:18, not a bad time at all on a Street Fighter A bike, with Plaskett there in 2nd, Stanier 3rd, and then Ian Popplewell closing in on the lot of them. He's got something like a 30-second lead now over Adam Palfman. There's Steve Bradbury, who finished 3rd in the Street Fighter A Championship last year. A regular, enjoys his racing. He's 6th overall at the moment, 4th in the A class. And there is Mick Everett on the KTM 660, currently on for a podium in the Street Fighter C class behind Keith Warren and Andy Driver, number 88 on the MZ, who's leading the fight for Street Fighter C supremacy. Look at Rothwell though here, unstoppable at the front. And coming up to put a lap, I think, on Brad Davey, who's stuck out there on that 500. There is Brad, number 3, just going through. In fact, that's Bob Docker, number 64. As the last lap flags out just in the left corner, you can see there. And Rothwell pushing the front end into turn 1 at Ritchie's. These lap times that he's doing, not far off the similar sort of getting points in the GP1 race at ThundersportGB. There is number 17, Ian Popplewell, 4th on circuit, leading the Street Fighter B race, however, ahead of this man, number 32, Adam Palfman, a rider that races in the Street Fighter class, the Mini Twins class, the Thundersport 500 class. He must be shattered at the end of each weekend. There is Reese Rothwell, though, on the way to taking glory, just passes Brad Davey. We're expecting a few more regular faces on the grid for Rockingham next. A series, of course, sponsored by HEL Performance, the best stainless steel braided brake lines in the business. And taking the trophy for Street Fighter A and Street Fighter Extreme, it's going to be Reese Rothwell here. He powers along the centre straight and is greeted by the checkered flag. It's Reese Rothwell that wins here at Snetterton, ahead of Andy Plaskett, number 2, we're expecting to see next. Indeed it is, and Martin Stanier in 3rd place. Brad Davey there crosses the line, picks up some points in Street Fighter C, but is 4th overall in class. Ian Popplewell has crossed the line in 4th overall and takes the Street Fighter B win. Also, so there's confirmation. Rothwell wins from Plaskett Stanier. Popplewell wins the Bs ahead of Palfman, and Steve Bradbury finishes inside the top 6. And there is the A team, Rothwell, Plaskett and Stanier. The Bs, Popplewell, Palfman and Bob Docker. And the Cs, Andy Driver with a great win ahead of Warren and Mick Everett. Extreme Street Fighter point standings, a good lead now for Rothwell ahead of Stanier. Plaskett's in 3rd ahead of Poppy, Palfman and Steve Bradbury.
HEL Performance Street Fighter C, Team MZ Factory Rider, Andy Driver. At last, it's so lovely to see you up here.
Yeah, it's taken me a while, you know, to come up here and win a race, but the bike's always had the potential, but it's the rider that's been the problem. No, it's a good win. I'm pleased with it. I battled for it and I got it. And
I think it was the paint job that did it.
I think so as well. I think the actual colours have really helped me this weekend to actually get my arse into gear and get going.
Who do you want to thank, Andy?
I'd like to thank the Inland Revenue because they've sponsored me for the last 2 years because I haven't paid the tax bill. I'm sorry about that, but it goes to a better cause if you use your tax bill to go racing. I'd like to thank my mate Keith, who without Keith I would starve, and he sets the bike up. But I would most like to thank all the marshals and everybody else here because it is one of the friendliest paddocks you could get. I've raced at BSB. This is the best run motorcycle club in the country, without a doubt.
Thank you very much. Bless your heart.
Thank you.
In Popplewell, winner Street Fighter B. Good one? Better race this time?
Yeah, got it all wrong in the first one. Overinflated my tyre, 45 PSI in the back tyre. No grip at all, but yeah, got away with racing the lads in that one and they pulled me along a bit. Great race, really enjoyed it.
Who do you want to thank, mate?
Yeah, John from regplates.com, Spares Unlimited for all the fuel oils and stuff, and RST Leathers, KBC helmets and Speed Sport Oval.
Well done, Ian. Nice to see you up here.
Thank you very much, see you again.
Reese Rothwell, winner Street Fighter A, obviously earned the race overall. Fantastic weekend for you.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I thought, to be honest, I thought I'd struggle at this track. Obviously, Martin and Andrew both on the 750s. I thought I'd be struggling to keep up, but I managed to keep myself, keep the mistakes to a minimum, and just sort of plug away there. And thankfully, I've come away with 4 wins.
So for you, it's more steady ahead and just keep up your lap times, regular bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, just concentrating on being consistent, making sure the lap times as good as can be, really. Just mistakes, keeping them to a minimum, just banging away at it.
Good lad. Who do you want to thank?
Just thank everyone that's helped me. So my mum, my dad, everyone that comes at the weekend. So Mick, Adam, Dave, my brother Curtis, just everyone who's really chips in and helps get us where we are, really.
Fantastic. Well done, Reece.
Okay, cheers.
Well, that's it from us here, Thundersport Naked at Snetterton. Hopefully we'll get some blue skies at Rockingham, which is up next. From me, Steve Day, we'll see you then.